So this video is a real life unplanned recovery. I'm going to cover how I got stuck, the two methods of recovery used, and how we drove out without getting stuck again. So we hadn't really planned to be doing any four-wheel driving, but just ended up on this track, and as you see it here, it's a steep, slippery climb. I hadn't really intended to go up there, but you know, we're in the area and thought, oh, we'll just poke our nose down there, see what that one's like, and that's where we've come. So we're sort of at this corner here, and we were going to go up there, but we decided to turn around. You can see it's really, really slippery. So I've taken over the driving. What I'm going to do now is just try and get the vehicle turned around by reversing up this hill like that, and then that allows me to use the downhill to hopefully get a bit of momentum and get the car out and turn. So I'm starting off in second low there, a little bit of turn, but you can see the car goes round, but then we just spin all four wheels and it's going nowhere. So at that point I give it up, and haven't aired down at this point. I could have done earlier, but I'm thinking, well, the car's still moving, I'll still keep giving it a shot. Now unfortunately there you sort of go further off the road, because it's just so slippery. I'm not even sure airing down would have made that much of a difference there. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is just go forwards and backwards, and it looks like I'm completely stuck there, but I'm not actually, because there's a couple of things I can do. I'm not going to spin the wheels in too much. Go forwards a bit, and that allows me to get a little bit of progress, but again I'm not going to overspin it. And then what we're going to do is go back, and you can see that works a little bit, and then we're going to just hold it on the brake so I don't slip forwards at all. Second gear low, move forwards a bit so make a bit more progress. And even if you make 10 centimetres of progress, that works. So now I've got the back end of the car up, so I can get back to the point now where I can maybe use momentum to go down the hill and actually get out of here. So turn the steering wheel, second low, bring the revs up, release that and launch the car. And yeah, it's just too thick mud, but we can just about, no, not quite. So yeah, it's the car's still moving. You can see that slight downhill gradient there. The car's just slipping further and further off the track, but you know, I don't give up hope. Maybe I can get the front spun around. And you can see it just about starts to work there, but not quite. So I thought, okay, let's go back and let's try and square up a bit like that. You can see that the car's a bit squarer now. So the problem is the car's now slightly cross-axled, and I've managed to get out a bit there, as you can see. Now I'm deciding not to use the rear locker because that disables brake traction control on the rear axle. I'd rather have traction control working on all four wheels in that situation. Possibly that may not have been the right choice. If I was twin locked, that would have definitely helped there. Now I've gone a bit further back. Normally that's not a bad thing to do, but I do have the car a little bit cross-axled again. That is going to make it harder to drive off. So this is where spotter helps. You can see not quite managing to make it there, but I do have that right rear wheel spinning, and you can see that that's the one with a lot of, well, quite a lot of weight on it, and the car's still going nowhere. So it's just a question now. Yeah, I'm probably just I'm realising that things are going to go from bad to worse, but I've given it a shot. The car's still moving, and the important thing is to stop and attempt recovery before it gets too bad. So just go back a bit. I can go back that far, and then can I launch it out enough to get out? The answer to that would be no. Okay, so we've aired the tyres down to 15 psi. Max track's in there. We've dug out around the centre of the car, and max track's there as well. Around the other side, same thing. We've just dug a path for the max tracks there. Importantly, there's now a clear path in front of the tyre, and dug out in front of that one as well. So the idea is we'll just get a little bit up that path and then see if we can manoeuvre around. So I've jammed the max tracks in underneath the wheels, aired down onto them, and now we're just going to try and just ease up onto them. It's always good to use four of them. Two simply wouldn't work in this situation, and you've got a crawl on. Once you're on, we can then just slowly increase the throttle and then just drive off them like that. We haven't got very far, but we've got further than we did before, so that's a bonus. We'll take it. Okay, so that worked so far, but we can see the problem. We've come off the max tracks now, and if you look at that back wheel, that's got a massive rut against it, which I can't climb out of, and similar deal going on for the front wheel. and over the other side, same sort of thing. You can see that back wheel got a massive lot of mud against it. The front wheel's not too bad actually, so to make progress what we're going to have to do is to dig out a bit of this mud right here, then just relocate the max tracks, and then we can just move another little bit further. And the important thing is we haven't bogged the car so much that it's all spun in. You can see there's actually still ground clearance available to us. We haven't bogged it in super deep. So a bit more digging. Right, we've run into a problem. So that right there is actually a log. Now there's no way the tyre is going to roll over that, so that needs to be removed, or we need to go backwards. Now I'm a bit reluctant to go backwards because I've kind of won all that territory, but I think what I'll do, just go backwards just a fraction so we can get rid of that. But yeah, that tyre's just going to spin, and then all the rest is going to be for nothing if we don't get rid of that bit of wood. Right, now max tracks, it's actually buried, as you can see underneath there. Come closer and have a look. So it's actually buried, but we can just pull it out like this. So that's a tip, just attach a strap or something like that to the max tracks before they go into sand or mud or snow for that matter, and they're much easier to locate even and pull out. Right, now we've dug out the front, so it's really going to get max straps shoved underneath as far as we can, and also in a straight line as well. So we're going to drive straight out, so that's where the max track is aligned. Now the side here, you can also see we've dug out a nice ramp as well. So you've got to try and get right underneath the tyre if you can. And the other advantage is that I'm actually excavating into earth which is dry. So you can see now that this is way easier for the tyre to roll on compared to what it was before, which was wet and also more of a ramp. So now if I take that and shove that in line, we probably might be okay to go. So I've done the digging, placed the max tracks, but I'm struggling to drive onto it, I think because of that log. So what I'm going to do is just go back a little bit over ground I've already compacted in a straight line, and see if I can get just a tiny little launch to get myself up onto the max tracks. But as you can see, once I've gone back I can't even go forward. That's how slippery it is. So try again, and I'm just losing ground that I already won. Okay, I'm still not happy about that bit of wood, but I think the other three tyres might have enough traction to get around of it. So if I put that max tracks there, I think we should be okay. Now at the front we'll do something similar. Basically just jam that one in like so. Right, so we're now good to go again, and let's see how that works. So still struggling to get onto the ramps, but it's not working. Now I could air down even further, down to maybe 8 psi, is about as far as I want to take those tyres, but I'm not going to do that because I think I can still make it work. And also I've got another option which is preferable to airing down, because I know once I can get onto those ramps I'll be able to move the car forwards. Okay, so here's that log. That was a problem, so the wheel was up against that. So we've got that out of the way. Unfortunately, by trying to go back to get a slight run up it, I've lost what we gained, but it will be easier this time round because we've dug out a lot already, and that log's out of the way. So off we go again with more digging. Okay, really important just to get the earth away from the tyre, because there's no way this tyre is going to be able to drive out of that rut, so it needs to be excavated quite significantly. So this is my plan B. I'm going to winch the car using a high lift jack onto the max tracks, and then we can drive off the max tracks and make progress. Now the high lift jack will only move the car about a metre. That's fine. I only need to move it about a third of a metre. I do need to make sure that extension rope is exactly the right length, so I'm using an X-Locks to do that. The car's in drive, someone's in it, so the winch load is really quite minimal. So I could do that, or I could have aired down. If I'd have aired down, I'd have lost ground clearance. I'm starting to get concerned about that now because the mud's quite thick. So if the car on the ramps, all we need is just a little bit of gentle movement with second low, and we make a little bit of progress. That's all we need, just a little bit of progress here and there, out soon enough. Okay, so again, this wheel's the problem. We've got to get this mud out of the way. Now, because we've got the high lift jack, we can obviously winch onto it, which we will do. But nevertheless, it's got to get some of this mud out of the way so the max track can actually be used to get this vehicle unbogged. Okay. Right, we're going to do the same winching operation again. So now we've set the winch up, it's easy to do multiple winches, doesn't take much extra time, and it's easy to get the car onto the ramps because the car's in drive. It's not spinning the wheels, but it is assisting the winch significantly, and once it's on we can drive forwards, as you can see, probably a metre and a half, and it's not really going to take very long at this sort of rate before the vehicle's out. Okay, we've got it with 2 pulls and 2 max tracks out that far. The front wheel, first of all, there's 2 things. There's less of an angle. Secondly, there's less resistance for the front right wheel. In fact, all of the wheels now. Really, the rear right is a problem, but it's not as much of a problem as it was. So probably one more pull, one more max track, so we can get the thing out, and then we've just got to get sort of down over this hump here without sliding back into that muck. So we're on our way. Now we're onto the max track, so we can simply take another drive, and you can see the car gets that little bit further. Okay, we're that far out now. The car's basically free, but the problem is it's on this very slippery side slope, so we're going to continue to use the max track just to manoeuvre it around and hopefully back it out over that little ledge. Okay, the car's going to come round in a turn, so the max tracks aren't pointing straight, they're pointing in the direction where the car is going to go, there and there, which will help us get round the turn. So you can see how slippery it is, and experience tells me that airing down even further wouldn't make a massive difference, which is why I've gone straight for the winch, because I know that then I can pull the car any which way I like, and I can use the limited grip I've got for lateral traction as well. So we were hoping the car would drive out from here, but not to be. Doesn't matter, we've already got the winch set up, we can drag it onto the max tracks, and we can drive forwards again just as we did before. Essentially in these situations, as long as you're making progress, keep doing whatever it is you're doing, be patient, and eventually you'll get on. So we're out of the muddy part now, we're onto the track itself, but that's still really slippery, and even with the tyres right down, then we still don't have enough grip. So we use the max tracks to turn the vehicle, and we do that by placing them immediately behind the rear wheels and behind the front wheels, reversing over them with the locker out so we can turn effectively, and as soon as we're off the max tracks, we stop, pick them up and put them behind the wheels again, reverse back another metre and a bit, and keep on doing that. It only needed to be done about maybe 5 or 6 times, and then we're back over that ledge and able to turn the car around and finally go home. So to summarise, don't forget your recovery gear even for basic trips where you're not planning anything. So I forgot my winch controller and I shouldn't have done. But always carry the basics. In my car, I've always got recovery gear like max tracks. I've always got the high lift jack, water, a thermal blanket, etc. So I am prepared, and that gives me some confidence. Then figure out why you're stuck. Don't just start recovering without doing that analysis. The example we had was the log that was preventing progress, so eventually we're able to get rid of it and life became easier. Now, airing down does work in pretty much every terrain, including mud, but don't rely on it that you can suddenly drop your pressures, you'll always be able to drive out. You need something extra beyond that. And if you're going to use traction ramps, I always use 4, not 2. You could see that I was struggling with 4 and 2 just simply wouldn't have worked. And if you're going to find space for 2, it's pretty easy to find space for 4. Now, the traction ramps are super effective, but you do need to get up onto them. And a way to do that, you could winch onto them, as I did, or you could jam them underneath the wheels and air down, or you could jack up a wheel one by one and place the ramps underneath them and then drive onwards. And finally, if you are making slow progress, just keep it up. Even 10 centimeters every half an hour is something. Eventually, you'll get out. Just be patient and keep going. So I hope you found this video useful. Any questions, please drop them in the comments, and thanks for watching.